So the other day my sister approached me and she said, we have to do something about the propane tanks. I was like, the propane tanks in front of the building? She's like, yes, they're big, they're ugly, we have to hide them. I was like, okay, well, we can't move them, so what do you have in mind? And she's like, we need to figure out some plants that we can put into containers, haul those out there, put them in front of there. They need to get big enough and be showy enough that people won't even notice the propane tanks out there. And they're so ugly, we've been calling them the pigs for the last couple of years. So you'd think with all the plants that we have on this property that it'd be very easy to be able to just put something in front of there and hide them. But this is an unplanned and unbudgeted project, so we can't spend any money, and that also means that we can't steal from the inventory that's intended for customers, because any plant that we use there means one less sale, so that affects the bottom line. And then also we sell out every year. So if we're taking plants out of the customer area, that's just disappointment for customers because we're going to sell out sooner. So we had to figure something out. And that's when I thought, maybe my seed starting stash might come in handy here. So I started digging through here, and pretty easy to find some solutions. So I've decided that we're going to try a couple things. I'm going to get them started and we'll see which ones take. That's the nice thing about the seeds. They're not too expensive and I can experiment a little. So the biggies that I really want to get going are some of the branching sunflowers, because some of these get like 5 to 6 feet, so that should be plenty to cover them. I know that they might not be really full, so they're going to be a little branchy, so I've got to think about some other things, like something that I can put in front of them that's going to be showy, and that's where my super giant marigolds come in handy, because they get over 3 feet tall and they're really full, and they also start blooming really early. So where the sunflowers might not bloom till a little later, we're going to get this color going right early in the season. So I think this could be a really good solution. And then I also noticed I have a lot of my taller zinnia seeds, some of them left over from last year. So I thought, I could probably tuck some of those in there too, see how well they do. And if I'm starting them inside now and I can put them into some bigger containers, they should be a decent size, so they should be blooming pretty early. That was the problem with the ones I direct sow, is that they bloom so late. So I've got more seeds to plant. So the great thing about sunflowers is that the seeds are generally pretty big and pretty easy to plant up. So I can get these kind of put together pretty quickly. Let's see here. Oh yeah, those are easy. Not sure how well you can see those. They're not that big at all. So we're just gonna use our finger. I didn't really read the thing, but I planted them up last year and they worked out fine. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I'm just going to do 4 of each for now. That should be enough for starters, and hopefully I get at least 3 of them to germinate. That's my goal anyway. Let me get these other ones in here. Now, working on these reminds me how easy marigolds and sunflowers and zinnias are to work with after planting out some of those other seedlings that I had where they were just so tiny. These are nice and big and easy to work with. It's really a good, nice little break. And like I said, I'm hoping that I can get 3 of each to germinate. I've had really good luck with each of these varieties. So the zinnia seeds are a year old, but I don't think those really go bad too easily. So it's should all work out. You know what, we're going to just roll with it. Like I said, this is an experiment. This is kind of just an easy little project. We're trying to make it as stress-free as possible. I'm putting them into these 4-inch containers because I know that these are plants that can handle kind of being this bigger kind of thing. I've had such good luck with germination on these, so I'm not wasting all that much space. And I'll know pretty quick because these all come up relatively swiftly as far as their speed of germination. So I'll be able to work with these pretty easily. And then I know that, say, in a month or two, probably I'm thinking within the month, they'll be big enough that I'll be able to transplant them into pots. I'm thinking we have a bunch of these. We were able to get we bought like a big bulk number of these, so we got a good price on them. So these would really work pretty well. They're very large. And they're great out there because where they're going, it's not necessarily a spot where we can water them more than once a day. So they'll get watered with the hydrangeas that we have out there, but we can't be running out there, you know, twice a day checking on them. So these plants are all pretty drought tolerant. They hold up really well, especially if they're in a bigger container like that. And we have some bigger ones than that too, but I'd have to see what we can use because we don't want to take stuff that would normally be sold, and I don't want us to be losing money by picking out the best containers or anything like that. And I could use nursery pots as well. Those are going to be fine to use, but it would be nice to have something a little nicer. However, the hydrangea shrubs and stuff will be kind of blocking the pot. And one thing to remember when we're thinking about the height of these, if I use a pot like this is almost 2 feet tall, maybe, or is it 18 inches maybe? I'm not sure how tall that is. I'm going to say it's 18 inches tall. That's another 18 inches off the ground. So if you have a 7 foot or 6 foot sunflower in there and you add another 1.5 feet, that's pretty good. Now we do have to think about, will they get knocked over? These seem to hold up pretty well, but we do have some other ones that have a wider base. So we got to think about that, because if we're going to put something tall like that in it, and I probably will snag 1 or 2 of the stone hedge begonias. That's a wax begonia that's new this year. That one gets over 3 feet tall. And I think we just need to do it out of an experiment. Like, this is a test, you know, it's a brand new begonia. We need to know how it really works. And can it hide a propane tank? I don't know. So we'll wait and see. So I need to get tags on these 3. I kept the bags, or like envelopes, right next to it, so I don't forget to do that. And we're just going to go from there. And this is going to be kind of fun. I'm going to keep you guys posted to let you know how well they do. And the nice thing about having these in containers is if one doesn't work, or if we need to put them closer or zigzag them a little bit more to condense them a little bit more, we can do that. If they start getting bigger, we can spread them out. So it gives us a lot of flexibility. If I was planting them in, say, a big raised bed or something, wherever I planted them is where they're going to be stuck. But in this kind of situation, we can adjust to suit. So it's going to be a good experiment to see if this is a solution that we can use in the future, or if we need to figure out something more permanent. We'll wait and see. So, you know, my sister's really good at saying we need to figure something out, and who ends up getting their hands dirty? She's a little brighter than I am, I think. But hey, I love doing it anyway. So I'll let her get away with it this time, but she owes me.